What if within the conflict that you're avoiding lies the resolution that you're seeking? Really hear that. What if within the conflict that you're avoiding lies the resolution that you're seeking? This video is going to be about avoiding conflict and the detrimental effects that take place because of that. We don't want conflict, obviously. I mean, maybe some people do, you know, if that drama is where the rush and satisfaction comes from, but generally speaking, we don't want conflict in our lives. So there's like two main approaches we take to avoiding that conflict. The first being addressing conflict right when it arises so that we don't have to deal with it and we can get rid of it, you know, solve it at the source right when it arises, or we become people pleasers. We walk on eggshells. We ease the tension. We keep everything chill and kosher and laid back all the time, and we act like nothing bothers us. So those are the two main ways that we avoid conflict in our lives, is addressing it right as it comes up and saying no to it, or solving it, or addressing it and talking about it, or not mentioning it as to avoid causing more conflict. But see, every time you don't voice to someone something they're doing that's bothering you, you're telling them that you don't care about what you actually care about. Let's say you're engaging with somebody and they're doing something that you don't agree with, that you don't like, something that makes you not feel so good inside. Every time you don't voice that, given it's something that's like important to actually voice, every time you don't voice how you feel, you're teaching that person that it's okay to treat you the way that you don't want to be treated. So, avoiding conflict, you know, some of us may think that that's ideal, that that's mature, that's a good thing to do, to not cause unnecessary drama. But when you avoid conflict, you're storing it all within you, because it is conflict. You don't like how this person or this group of people is treating you, but instead of voicing that and expressing that, you're storing it all within you. So what starts to build within you is resentment and anger and frustration and sadness and walking on eggshells, where you gotta say the right thing, do the right thing, don't say that, don't do that, better have that ready, better not do that, all to avoid making this other person upset. And see, here's the interesting part. Someone that walks on eggshells is usually doing so in the presence of somebody that's not afraid to voice their conflict. They're not avoiding conflict. Everything that happens that they don't like, they voice, they talk about it. And that we can talk about if that's positive or negative, a toxic or good quality to have. But nevertheless, when you're walking on eggshells around somebody, it's because that person always just speaks what's bothering them inside. And you're walking on eggshells because you're not speaking how you feel inside. If you don't voice your opinion and how you feel towards how someone is treating you or how people are treating you, how are you ever going to create an environment that allows you to flourish within it? If you don't butt heads with your environment every now and then to share, hey, I don't like this, hey, this doesn't work for me, hey, I don't agree with this, hey, can you not do that? If you aren't voicing your true feelings, how are you ever going to be in an environment that's there for you, that understands you? If you don't voice your opinion, you're always going to be in an environment where you're getting stomped on, even unknowingly too. Because what goes with avoiding conflict and not sharing how you feel inside, is that those people or that person might not even know that what they're doing is bothering you. And that's another thing. They're going to keep doing it because you haven't said that you don't like it. And when you voice how you feel, when you finally share with somebody that you don't like something they did or are doing, or you don't like the way they're treating you, or whatever it is, when you voice that conflict, when you lean into the tension of that conflict, you're teaching them, I don't like this. Now, what's the next move? What's the next step? Are they going to keep doing it? Or are they going to respect your opinion and stop doing it? When you voice your opinion, when you lean into that tension, that conflict, like I said a moment ago, that's how you weed people out of your life that don't respect you, that don't respect your values and your opinions. When you voice how you feel, it acts as a filter for the people in your life. And in my opinion, I think it's more detrimental long term to store all that stuff inside of us. Let's say you live with somebody and there's just this whole array, this myriad of things that they do that you don't like, that you really don't like. And I'm not talking silly stuff either, like little pet peeve things. I'm talking like things, general, like huge things in how they act and how they carry themselves and how they treat you. Things that genuinely bother you. But you're not sharing that with them. So they don't know it's bothering you, and you're living with the pain of them continuing to do that. You're not solving it. You're storing it all within you. So by avoiding conflict, you're not even really avoiding conflict. All you're avoiding is sharing how you feel. And now all this negative resentment and sadness and frustration is just within you. And of course, that's going to paint how you act towards that person. That's going to paint how much you enjoy being with this person. You know? I had an instance at work the other day where something with me is, you can't get by me without getting a nickname. That's just how I roll. I just give everybody nicknames. Everybody, my pets, my friends, my family, everybody gets a nickname. And my coworker, I have a nickname for him that I call. I have a multitude of nicknames, but I called him this nickname. And he said, "Hey, can you stop calling me that?" And at first, I was put off. I was like, well, the hell, man, it's just a nickname. Why do you care? You know, whatever. But then, over the next 5-10 minutes, I started to realize, listen, like, it doesn't matter why he cares. The fact is that he just voiced how he feels. He doesn't want me to call him that nickname. So, I'm going to respect his opinion and not call him that name. And that's all there is to it. So now, my coworker is in a more comfortable environment because I'm respecting his opinion. And what it took for him to be in that more comfortable environment is leaning into that tension and voicing his opinion. Hey, I don't like when you call me that. Can you stop calling me that? And see how I got all weird for a minute about it. I got like offended. Like, it's just a nickname, man. But that doesn't matter. That's his opinion. And am I going to make this big, huge deal out of, I should be able to call you, you know what I'm saying? No. I'm going to go, okay, he doesn't want me to call him that name, so I'm not going to call him that name because I respect his opinion. That's what happens when you're engaging with somebody that respects your opinion and respects who you are, and you voice how you feel. You ever have, you know, that moment when you have a deep talk with somebody and it just finally feels like everything comes up in this healthy and organic way, and all these untied ends just get released, and it all equalizes, it all neutralizes, and finally it's like you're meeting in the moment with that person. And that conversation could have been prompted, could have been started by you finally saying, hey, can we talk? Like, there's something that I've wanted to talk about for a while, and I feel like we need to talk about it if we want to continue to have a close connection. And then 45 minutes later, you guys have had this amazing, deep, intimate conversation where you're both sharing how you feel, and you feel one, you feel connected, you feel like you're truly connected in that moment with each other. You know? And what started that conversation is sharing that there was something that was bothering you. And then lo and behold, you find out that they respect your opinion, that they genuinely care about you, that they didn't know that that was bothering you, and they're grateful that you had what it took to voice how you were feeling to them. And see, when you hold back how you feel towards how someone is being, when you avoid conflict, it's almost like you're not respecting the value of the connection with that person. Because it's like you think that they can't handle hearing how you feel. Or maybe vice versa, you can't handle them rejecting you voicing that opinion. You know? All I'm trying to say is that when we avoid conflict, we're not avoiding conflict, we're just living with it inside, and we're not taking that leap of faith of offering it to someone who's in our life that we care about and that we presumably think cares about us. We're not offering it to them to see what they'll do with it. We're not allowing for the possibility of them to potentially change their behavior to compensate for how you feel about them. You know? And I'm not talking about being argumentative either. I'm not talking about nitpicking at every little thing that bothers you about somebody. That's a lot of conflict, what we would call conflict, is just little stuff inside that we can transmute within ourselves using our own mind and wisdom. A lot of it doesn't even need to be voiced, you know? And a lot of it, you get over it. But there are times where somebody you live with, somebody you're engaging with, somebody you work with is doing something consistently it doesn't sit well with you. They could be abusing you, verbally or, God forbid, physically. They could be just treating you badly. And it's consistent. They're constantly doing it. It's how they treat you. That's when you need to talk about it. That's when you need to share it. Because when you don't, you're teaching that person that it's okay to treat you the way you don't want to be treated. So you need to stand up for yourself. That's what I'm talking about, of this filter, that when you finally voice how you feel, you're teaching the world, this is how I want to be treated, and if you're not willing to treat me that way, I'll see you later. I respect myself. This is what I allow. I'm not going to allow myself to be treated in this way, so you can either stop treating me like that, or we're not going to engage with each other anymore. That's what it's about, you know? But some people would rather keep the person around who's treating them poorly and live with all this pain inside because they're so afraid to address that problem because of the negative feelings associated with it. You know, like the feelings aren't necessarily good feeling. They don't feel good to talk about this huge titanic problem that you have with how someone's treating you. But it's like a purging. It's like a purging where you're finding out how this person feels about you. You're finding out if this person respects you. You know? So those negative feelings, it's that negativity is, I don't know how to describe it other than it's transformative. It's good. It's good. You're gonna grow through it. You know how a lot of what allows us to grow in life is stuff that doesn't necessarily feel very good at first? Like exercising, or ice baths, or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Fasting, whatever, meditating. negativity is often a variable in growth. So when you voice your opinion to somebody and it's all like, oh my God, what are they going to think? Are they going to get mad at me? Are they going to explode at me? You need to face that head on and say, listen, like, this is how I feel. I don't care about the emotions that my body is saying to tell me to keep holding it inside of me. No, don't share that you don't like how they treat you, because they're gonna get mad. And dude, you gotta care about yourself. You gotta love yourself. Why are you trying to keep the peace with somebody that treats you in a way you don't want to be treated? Why would you even want to be with that person? And honestly, if you're not sharing what it is that they're doing that bothers you, you can't blame them, because how would they know that it's bothering you? Obviously, if it's something like really bad, they should have the wherewithal to know that that's not acceptable. But if it's behavioral and personality stuff or snipping at you with stuff, or just, you know, how they act and how they treat you at times and stuff, if you don't voice that stuff to them, they don't know that it bothers you. So more than likely, they're going to continue doing it. And you're going to continue to have a problem with it so long as you don't voice that it bothers you. So like I said, you're not avoiding conflict. All you're avoiding is telling that person how you feel. The conflict is still there. Every time they do that thing, it bothers you. Like, imagine you're living with somebody and you're a particularly neat person. You live neat. You make your bed. You fold your clothes. You know, you like everything tidy and specific. You know. And then this person that you live with is a little more laid back, a little more sloppy, a little more stuff all over the place. They have a pile of clean clothes and a pile of dirty clothes, and they leave dishes upstairs, and you know, they're a little bit more messy. And it bothers you. So you live a week, a month, a year, 10 years, just storing all that inside of you, hating that they're that messy. And the reason you're not sharing it is because you don't want to hurt their feelings. You don't want to hurt their feelings and tell them that, hey, do you mind like folding your clean clothes and like putting them away? Or do you mind when you're done with dishes bringing them downstairs to the dishwasher? Or do you mind like making your bed? Do you mind like being just a little bit neater for the sake of my well-being, you know? See how it feels weird, but really what it is two personality types coming together? You know? We don't want to have to deal with that, but if you live with somebody that's not really living in a way that you agree with, or they're not treating you in a way that you agree with being treated with, you know what I mean? We have the obligation to voice that stuff, and if you don't voice it, you're going to live with that pain inside of you. You're going to live with that pain inside of you, and it's doing a disservice to you. You're not doing anybody a favor. You may think you're doing that other person a favor by not laying on them the huge burden of your feelings, but dude, that's not true at all. Your feelings should not be a burden to the person you live with, or your coworker, or your friends. Your feelings should be one of the main priorities in you and that person's connection. You know, and I want to share one more thing before I go. There is a way to address problems that you have with somebody in a completely organic and natural way. A lot of the time when we're going to finally address a problem we have with how someone's treating us, when we're finally going to address them with that, we like armor ourselves with the, like, it's like we're going to war. I'm gonna go and tell them how I feel. I'm not taking it anymore, and I'm gonna go and tell them. When you meet them with that energy, they're going to have a recoil effect, and they're going to feel attacked. And it's less likely that they're going to respect that opinion. Because rather than naturally and authentically voicing how you're feeling, you're coming at them. So if you want that conversation, that conflict to go down as good as possible, you need to be in a clear place of compassion, of love, of presence, of calmness, you know? Obviously this depends on what the conflict is that you're finally addressing. Obviously, if it's really intense, it's going to be hard to be calm about it, and maybe you need to get other people involved, you know? But I'm talking just like two people that live together or work together or friends or whatever it is that you've been avoiding all this stuff and it's really starting to bother you. When you address them with that, you don't want to do it in this attacking kind of way, because that's going to close their heart off. They're gonna put on a shield of armor, and they're not going to be available to you. They're not going to really hear what you're saying because it's coming from a place of ego. It's coming from a place of, I'm telling you how I feel and you need to listen to me. If you do that, they're going to be that much less likely to really hear you and embody what it is that you're sharing. I've had experiences where, me and my brother used to live together, and he would do things that bother me, and it'd go on for weeks and months because I'm not voicing how I feel, and it was just how he is, or how he was. But he did things that bothered me, and I didn't voice it. And then rather than voicing how I felt, I just would be bothered by it for months on end. And there would be times where I'd put on that suit of confrontation of, I'm gonna tell him that I don't like this. Keegan, I don't like that you do this. And he would get offended. He would feel attacked, victimized, and rather than really engaging in a dialogue with me about how I feel and how we could work on it, it's an attack on him. And so what does he do? He defends himself. Now it's no longer about the problem at hand. It's a battle between attacker and defender, offensive and defensive. But here's the thing that I'm talking about. There would be other times where I don't even realize it. We're hanging out, we're having a good time, and without even realizing it, I share that I had a problem with that. It comes up naturally and organically in the conversation. And suddenly I've shared with him this problem I had, and I didn't even realize I was sharing it. And then I go, oh my God, I just told him that thing he was doing was bothering me. And because I did it in such an unguarded and authentic and loving and natural way, his guard was completely down, and it was received by him and understood by him. And see, this is like the Tao. This is like Wu Wei, non-action, non-doing. Where when the stars align and you're in just the right space and just the right moment with this person, you share something they're doing that bothers you without even realizing that you just shared it. And because of that, your ego wasn't online. You weren't at the ready to I'm gonna tell this person what they're doing bothers me. And because of that, you were calm, serene, loving, just being together. And part of the conversation was sharing, like, hey, this thing you did, like, it's been bothering me for weeks, and, like, I just haven't told you, and it's natural. Do you hear what I'm saying? Like, there's a difference between I'm gonna tell him that he's bothering me and just mindlessly, selflessly letting them know. Where nobody's attacking anybody. It's natural. It's organic. I hope that makes sense. But really what it's talking about is you're not trying to solve the problem. You're not there's nothing present within you that puts them on edge. You're doing it naturally, authentically, organically. So really what I'm trying to say in this video is, if it's a little thing, transform and transmute and alchemize that stuff within yourself and get over it. It's a little thing, you know what I mean? A large percentage of that stuff we can get over and work on it ourselves. But if it's a huge thing and it's been bothering you for months or even years on end, you have the duty and responsibility to voice that. And you're not, like I said earlier, you're not doing anybody a favor by just holding that toxin within you. It's up to you to share how you feel so that you can inform this person of how you'd like to be treated. Because if you don't share with them how you feel about how they're treating you, you can't blame them because they aren't even aware that how they're being is bothering you. So you need to feel into that conflict, lean into that conflict, share how you feel, and that will act as a filter that curates your environment and the people that you associate with in such a way that it's an environment that's nourishing for you, that's conducive to your well-being. You know? If you just go around not being there for yourself, not standing up for yourself, not respecting how you feel, you can't blame people when they do things that you don't like because they don't know that you don't like it. And I feel like I've made that point clear. I just want to tell you guys that, yes, we kind of have this knee-jerk reaction to avoid conflict. I don't want to tell them about that, you know? But in the long term, it's only going to help you. It's only going to help you because you're teaching and informing the people close in your life how you'd like to be treated. And if they continue to do things that you don't like, maybe you and that person need to reconsider how much you associate with each other. And that's only going to help you. So don't be afraid to lean into the tension. Don't avoid conflict. Stop walking on eggshells. Be somebody that asserts themselves, that respects and stands up for their own values and opinions. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video.